In today's video, we will tell you the incredible story of a boy who made an entire city out of cardboard boxes and trash. Orphaned and homeless, the kid lived in a huge junkyard. There were thousands of things that could be useful to him, but unfortunately, there wasn't anyone to teach him how to use them. For instance, this boy didn't even know how to light a fire so he could stay warm at night. The kid had no one to protect him. He was always surrounded by stray dogs and cats, but they never did anything to hurt him. One day, the kid was working on a new project when he heard someone say, "Wow, what a great idea. You should definitely keep going." John took Nikolai to his car and drove him around town. He was very happy about it, but he couldn't just leave his cardboard city. So he asked John if he could bring some things with him. They said he was a weird kid who brought a bunch of trash to the building site. "It's a good project, but it needs some improvements. We can't afford to spend extra money, so I want you to make the building smaller and add more apartments." During this time, Nikolai studied a lot, learned how to read and write, and most importantly, became friends with John. Together, they designed many buildings in the city. They were a great team, but Nikolai never forgot his cardboard city. Every evening after work, he returned there. "Guys, this is Nikolai. He's my friend, and I want you to build him a house. It should be big and cozy." "But John, we already have a plan for this land," one of the workers said. He wanted to help homeless children and build them shelters just like John helped him. And the first shelter was built in the same junkyard where the boy used to live. "Cancel the plans and start building a house for the kid," John replied. The workers were surprised, but they knew that arguing with John was pointless. So they got to work. People often walked by and laughed at him, but he didn't care. He was happy in his cardboard world. Finally, he could live somewhere else besides his cardboard city. But there was one problem. The boy had nowhere to get money from. He didn't work at the construction site for free. "John, I want to pay for the house," he said. "How am I supposed to do that?" "Don't worry, kiddo. Everything's on me," John replied with a smile. John thought for a moment. "How am I supposed to do that?" "You'll figure it out." The boss turned off and left. John sighed. He understood that now he had to do everything himself. So he called Nikolai over. "Listen, kid, I need your help. Can you draw the same building, only smaller?" "Okay," Nikolai replied. John handed the boy some paper and pencils. But John stood up for him and told everyone to shut up. All the workers were surprised because the boy was really talented. He drew so well that sometimes John himself couldn't find any flaws in his drawings. One day, the boy finished his work and handed the drawing to John. The architect looked at it for a long time and finally smiled. "You did a great job. This is exactly what we needed." John took the drawing to the boss, and he liked it so much that he gave the architect a bonus and ordered him to hire Nikolai as an assistant. The boy was very happy about it. Finally, he could work with John and earn his first money. Then he gave the boxes to Nikolai and said, "Get to work." The boy got to work enthusiastically. He started drawing, cutting, and sticking things together. When Nikolai found out about it, he was devastated. He ran to the junkyard as fast as he could, but it was too late. All the buildings were gone. The boy sat down on a pile of trash and cried. John came up to him and put a hand on his shoulder. "Don't cry," he said. "I have an idea. Let's build you a real house." Nikolai looked up and smiled. The workers watched him for a while and then got back to work. They didn't understand why John hired a kid who played with boxes instead of hiring another worker. But John trusted Nikolai. After all, he saw what the boy was capable of. "Of course," John answered. "But why do you need those boxes?" I don't know. I just like them." Nikolai lied. He was too ashamed to say the truth. John didn't ask any more questions and helped the boy carry the boxes to his car. Then he stopped near a big construction site. "Do you see that building? I want you to become my assistant and help me with the project." Nikolai thought for a moment. On the one hand, he liked his cardboard city. It was his home. On the other hand, he was curious about what it was like to work as an architect. "I want to think about it," he said. "Okay, take your time. But remember, this offer won't wait forever." John smiled mysteriously and went to talk to the workers. The boy looked up and saw a man in a suit smiling at him. Our protagonist felt uncomfortable and tried to run away, but the man was faster. Wait, don't go anywhere," he said. "My name is John. What's yours?" Nikolai," the kid replied. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Nikolai. I'm an architect. My whole life I work with projects, plans, and blueprints. But you don't need any of that. Your talent is God-given. Nikolai didn't understand what John was talking about, but he liked the sound of the word architect, so he nodded his head. He slept under an old washing machine and somehow survived. Maybe it was luck, maybe it was fate, but this boy didn't have to live like this for long. One day when he was rummaging through some old stuff, the kid found a box full of matches. From that moment on, his life changed dramatically. He learned how to start a fire and cook some food. However, he still had to deal with other problems such as the rain. It would pour from the sky and everything around would get wet. He kept improving his city, adding more and more details every day. And it wasn't easy. After all, he was just a little kid who didn't know how to read or write. It's hard to believe, but the boy managed to build roads, parks, gas stations, and even cars for his city. He made a place where everything was perfect. But our protagonist couldn't stand it anymore and decided to take matters into his own hands. Cardboard creations. He started collecting cardboard boxes and making something incredible. He cut the boxes into pieces, put them together, and made houses. Soon he built not only houses, but also hotels, shops, and gas stations. In addition, the boy collected bottle caps and used them as roofing material. He built a whole city out of trash. It seemed as if he took all the stuff from the junkyard and created something wonderful. The kid spent most of his time in his cardboard city. He was just a child and didn't know any better. But there were people who knew what he was doing, and they weren't exactly supportive. The townspeople often came to the junkyard and laughed at the boy. They said he was crazy for playing with garbage. But he didn't listen to them. However, even in his cardboard world, there was no place for happiness. As soon as John realized that the kid didn't understand anything, he said, "Let me show you something." After thinking about it for a long time, Nikolai decided to accept John's offer. When they arrived at the construction site, everyone laughed at Nikolai. Opportunity. A few weeks later, John showed the boss the plans for the building. But the boss wasn't happy. Nikolai worked for several days, ate lunch at the construction site, and at night returned to his cardboard city. Legacy built. Several years passed. However, one day the junkyard owners decided to demolish the buildings and clear the land. The next day, John brought the boy to the construction site and introduced him to the workers. A few weeks later, the house was ready. It was 2 floors high and looked like a real castle. Nikolai was very happy. Some time passed, and Nikolai decided to make his first real project.